Welcome to another episode of Mick and Ori's Classic Cars. I'm Mick.
And I'm Ori.
Ori, we have Darren and his lovely Mondial.
Welcome, Darren. But not just any Mondial, Mick.
A Mondial T.
Yeah, but not just any Mondial.
AK.
A UK import. So officially landed here a couple of weeks ago. And it's a big story about how Darren found this car. And we're really excited to discuss that, which we'll discuss on the podcast. But I'm excited because I want to import a car from the UK. Darren's actually done it.
So you know how to do it now by listening to him.
I want to hear Darren's story in the process because the car's actually here and it's exactly everything you thought it would be, Darren.
Basically, yeah.
No. What I want to know, Darren,
Yep.
why a Mondial T?
Funnily enough, I've always liked Mondials, and the T, I own a 348, as you guys know.
Yes.
And the T was the last iteration of the Mondial. It was the balance.
So it's got the
is supposedly a
348
lot better.
engine
The
in it, so it's a
348 engine.
3.4 litre engine.
Correct.
And this is the last of that. So 1990 they finished. This is a 1990.
Finished in 93, they
93.
finished.
Yeah.
So this
T
is...
stand for turbo?
No, it actually stands for transverse in the gearbox.
Okay.
Not the transverse engine because it's actually longitudinal.
Correct.
But it's a transverse gearbox.
Gearbox, that's right.
So that's why they call it a T. It's not turbo.
So exactly the same engine as the 348.
And same layout. So the
Same layout.
the
So we'll
348
have a
with
look
the
at
T.
that in a minute.
Yeah.
So it's just the shell, the interior, 4 seats versus 2.
Yeah, well, look, there's a few other changes.
Well-
348 was the first monocoque chassis that Ferrari made. I think this was goes back to the original Mondial as far as all of
Yeah,
that
so this
is
has
concerned.
got the normal tubular chassis,
Correct.
you know, like the 308s and
That's right. So
but however, this one here though, Darren, I think it must have been a luxury model because this got power steering. And the 348 hasn't got power steering. So they brought this one out with power steering.
Features in
Yeah.
late.
Yep,
Okay.
correct.
Wow.
And you were telling me it's also got adjustable suspension.
Yep, 2 or 3 position suspension. I'm still yet to work out whether there's 2 positions in it or 3 positions.
Well, you've got
in
to
it,
see
but-
what works now because you haven't had
Correct.
a full
No.
going
I've
through yet.
had a one drive of it just to see that it was as advertised and as I expected, and it is, which is good. And so, yeah, I've still got to go through all of that other stuff yet.
So you
Hey.
did the pre-purchase inspection over there. We got someone to do it for you over there. You didn't fly over and go and see the car.
No.
And why buy it in the UK? Why don't you just go and buy one here in Australia?
You've got to find a Mondial T in Australia. There's a lot of, I don't know whether it's misinformation or what it is, but apparently there was never a Mondial T coupe ever imported new into Australia.
They're all
or
the
ever sold
cabriolets.
new. They're all cabs, as far as I know.
Okay.
There's a little bit of discussion about whether or not there was one that came in. And my understanding too is if there was that one came in, it came in with the Valeo gearbox.
Yeah, so the Valeo gearbox, hasn't got a clutch pedal.
Correct.
So it's still a manual, still a gated shifter, but it
Still
hasn't got a
gated
clutch
shifter.
pedal.
Centrifugal clutch, hasn't it?
Well, no, I think it's the same, but you actually put pressure on the gear stick to get it into neutral. Porsche did the same. I don't know
Yeah.
about the same era or not, because I remember driving my mate's Porsche,
Yep.
and he had that. And
So how many
I didn't really like
How
that.
many Ferraris had that gearbox?
One.
Or was it only,
Oh, really?
No, it was only this one.
Only
that
the
model.
Mondial T.
This one, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
And in
yeah.
right-hand drive, I think they only brought out 45 of these in right-hand drive.
Mondial T.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in right
So-
in the world.
The Mondial was an 11-year make.
Yeah,
know
from
that.
yeah.
Yep.
So how many were actually made?
Oh, there's about 6,000 or so.
I think so.
Something
In
of that
total, over
order,
the
in
11
total.
years.
40 right-hand drive.
45 right-hand drive
Wow.
Mondial Ts.
Of the Mondial T. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are about 1,000, I think, Ts.
And
but
then this
only
beautiful
45
grey
right-hand drive.
colour, there wouldn't
All right,
be how many.
how good is it
that's
not to be
exactly
red?
right.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Well, that was part of my searching and purchasing decision was that I didn't want a red one. So that obviously cuts down the opportunities quite significantly. Basically, I bought the first one that ticked the boxes that wasn't red that I could find. So
Well, let's have a look at a couple of things. Can we have a look at the
Absolutely, yeah.
engine? Because everyone talks about the engines. We have to have a look at the engine.
Yep.
If we have a look at this, Darren, one of the things when you bring it over from overseas is through customs is the asbestos.
Yep.
So that's all been checked over, all been done.
Correct.
But before you do all that,
Yeah.
I'm more interested, Darren, you're buying this car, so all you got to see were photos, correct? Or did you get
Basically,
video sent over
No,
of the car?
No, I didn't ask for a video. I just had photos. I had a specialist in the UK look at the car, quite a well-known specialist in the UK. So I trusted him. I trusted his opinion and view, And he had a look at the car. We talked numerous times over the phone and over text and email over a fairly long period of time.
So the 348 engine, longitudinal, but otherwise you can see it's a more modern layout.
Yep.
So traditionally they were the
And set lower. So one of
yeah.
the advantages of the T is that the whole engine is set lower. So to answer the question earlier about why a Mondial T, the handling characteristics of this car are supposed to be way better than the original Mondials.
Better balance.
Which are also, given that it's got a longer wheelbase, it should be pretty good.
So
a little bit like your
engine out?
GT4. It's a
Engine out service?
engine
Yes.
out service, this one, because the cam
so this
belts-
is the first Ferrari where there was engine out service. So it came out in sort of mid '88, then the 348 in '89.
Yeah,
So it's the
348,
T, the
355.
348 and the 355 are all engine out
out.
service.
But the big advantage, let's talk, because everyone talks about Mondials and they talk about how slow they were, the early ones, the Mondial 8, because of all the pollution,
Correct.
equipment and the US laws and all sorts of that. They didn't have much horsepower. They had a lot less than the 308 GT4s even. But this one
That's
here,
right.
Darren, has got 300 horsepower.
That's right, yeah.
So you have Mondial 8 side by side with this one and you've got an extra 80 horsepower. So I'm looking forward to driving it.
Is that what you're getting to?
Well, I want to drive this thing.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
drive it. Let's go and take this for a drive and see. Have you taken it? Were you taking it for one
Yeah,
drive?
taking it for one drive, yeah.
All right, so Mick's taking it for the second drive now that's here in Australia.
Well, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's
All
go.
right.
All right.
soft hard.
Yeah, that's it. So
try
it's in
that
soft mode now. You can feel that it's
It's
quite comfy.
comfortable.
Yeah. It's that was the thing that shocked me about it when I took it for a drive the other day. Was just how remarkably comfortable it was.
It's very, very comfortable.
It is. So you can see how the appeal was for a long distance
That's a great
touring vehicle.
and family car.
Yeah,
it's a
and
really
family
good
car.
family car.
Correct.
Because my only fear about buying a car from overseas is you can't just drive to the dealer now and go and say, mate, this is not right. You know what I'm saying? That would be my only. Otherwise, the opportunity to find the cars obviously a lot better because of the global market.
Yeah, there's just more.
But not
of it.
having that, yeah, exactly right. There's more out there overseas, mate.
But in saying that, Ori, if you know from a PPI what needs to be done, you're better off still doing it here because you've got control. When they do some of the repair work or, they won't necessarily, like you're going to, maybe the rims, for example, if there's some scratches, they'll just do a brush over.
Yeah.
They won't take the rim and take it back down to metal and whatever you may want to do. Pulls nicely, Darren.
It does. Yeah.
It
It goes really well.
It's a really comfortable car.
It's smooth.
It is, isn't it?
Smooth, yeah.
But the power steering is something
But
too. because-
even the space,
Yeah.
space in here.
Yeah.
There's more space in your 456.
Yeah, and the other thing.
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you, don't get
full
upset.
fi-
It's not nothing
No.
personal, mate. Don't get offended.
No, this car here. I think is about 200 mil longer than the GT4,
Is it?
and 100 mil wider.
It's 100% more comfortable than the GT4.
Oh yeah,
Where the dash
goes
is,
without
come
saying.
on, mate.
Goes without
For
saying.
someone a little bit taller, I mean, you're only 4'4".
Yeah, very
So
funny.
this is really comfortable. I mean, it's really comfortable. Very, very user friendly. I actually.
You're impressed.
I mean,
but,
yeah, I am,
mate,
mate.
when you first talked about
I
it,
would
you
say
said, I don't want it,
Mondial, another one.
And that is a stigma. I think people have got that stigma, but quite rightly so for the early ones, I would say. It's got a look at that. It's got a bit of pull. That's the 5,500. Goes into second easily. That's the second 6,000 reps. I mean. Pulls nicely, Darren.
It does.
I'll tell you what. might be.
Yeah,
For a
and
35-year-old car.
and that's what Mario said, I think, when he took it for a drive as well. He was quite shocked.
We now have Mario with us. We've taken 5 minutes of his time to actually get him to have his say on the car.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, look, I congratulated Darren the other day when I had a drive. I was actually really impressed. This first T that I've actually driven, Darren. I think you and I had that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a different car. I've driven many Mondials with the 3.2 litre engine in them. And it really is like driving a 348 in a different shell. It's actually just a wonderful thing to drive. Yeah, I was really impressed with the power steering, of course.
Yeah, so the 348 hasn't got power steering, but so that was the big difference between the 348 and this one. Yeah,
exactly. It makes it just a lovely car to drive. It's quiet, it's smooth, it has the power that we know the 348 has. Yeah, very different beast.
But as a technician now, how nervous are you getting a car that's just arrived from the UK? You don't know the service history. You only can go by the books. Where do you start now when do you go through it?
Yeah, well,
with a fine-tooth comb?
You've got to look at all of it. You've got to look at, you hope that whoever's been looking after these cars, and not just this car, that they've done what they say they have or what it needs. So you just go through and look at all those items that are required, especially in a situation like this where we need to have a roadworthy done on it.
Yeah.
We look at the car completely.
So the first test you've done, you had a drive.
You had a drive. Now we look at brakes and suspension. Maybe we look for oil leaks and see what the condition the engine's in, lights, all the usual things that make it roadworthy. But this car already proves that it's probably going to be quite easy to put through. So. Yeah.
And having never driven one before, though, how do you compare it? Because what are you looking for? Because you don't know what to compare it to because you've never driven one.
Well, no, you don't really compare it to anything because what we're doing is assessing it as a car, and it could be any car. So we're just making sure that it's roadworthy.
Yeah. And in saying that, if you need any information, I've driven it now, so you can ask me whatever you like. So I can give you some hints of what to look for and not to look for.
We've been looking for people like you for a long time.
That's good.
So
That's good.
I'm really glad that you're offering that service.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think for Darren, I think he's actually got a really
he has.
It's quite special. There aren't too many around, Darren, as you know.
Yep.
It's a bit stealthy. People don't really know it's got a 348 engine in it, but yet it's probably something now that I've driven one. Ferrari probably should have done more of.
And I think it's the whole package. It's a usable Ferrari. Yeah. It's a 2+2, comfortable, and we've said it a few times, not red.
Yeah, not red.
Not red. So we're happy that it's not red.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Mario. Thanks, Darren.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.